escalated violence, drugs, and all of the social ills of any urban center. Hartford had it. And the ghettoizing, the redlining, the planned segregation, housing segregation that Hartford is built around these days. On the north end of Hartford in particular, and some here in the south end. We experienced, it became very, very aware that these issues of violence stem from systemic injustices long term.
I ain't even write rap. I was planning on how I was gonna get back to this motherfucking money. We need more Narcan for the trap. We need more Narcan for the trap. Narcan for the trap. 2 white licks passed out in the back. We need more Narcan for the trap. Narcan for the trap. Might lose one off this batch if we don't get more Narcan in this trap. Narcan in the trap. We need more Narcan in the trap. We need more Narcan in the trap. Narcan in the trap. This ain't what the clowns like. If black thoughts so fat and all, this is what it would sound like.
My name is Howard Hill. I am the owner and operator of Howard K. Hill Funeral Services. We're located in Hartford on Barber Street. We're in Bloomfield, Connecticut on Granby Street, and we also have a location in New Haven on Chapel Street. Coming up in Connecticut, you feel racism. In elementary school, I was called the N-word probably every other day. Why is there an issue with the color of my skin? Why am I a nigger? What about the content of my character, of who I am? So it is confusing in many ways coming up in Connecticut because racism is never talked about. It's just felt. I own a segregated business, and it's not because I want it to be that way. It's just the way it is. I'm a licensed funeral director, a licensed embalmer. Doesn't say I'm black. It says I'm a licensed embalmer by the state of Connecticut. By virtue of my skin color, other cultures won't support my business, regardless of how high I rise.
Howard K. Hill wants to bring economic, social, and cultural vibrancy back to Barber Street. Before the businesses burned in the late 1960s, it was home to grocery stores, bakeries, a clothing store, and other shops for Black working-class families, some who owned their own businesses.
The day Martin Luther King died, this place was burned out, and it never recovered.
For decades, Barber Street has been a shadow of what it used to be.
Our housing policy has been driven by racism. My name is Erin Boggs, and I'm the Executive Director of Open Communities Alliance and a civil rights attorney. Hartford and the entire state of Connecticut is the way it is largely because of housing policy. And this is a housing policy that has historically grown out of a time when there was an intentional effort to create segregation. And that has meant that we have poverty concentration in our cities that brings with it all kinds of other things, the types of things that we've been talking about in terms of disparities, from everything from life expectancy to the school performance and resources, to graduation rates, etc. That is sort of at the core of what we need to change in order to address all of the disparities that we've been talking about.
My name is Lucius Kalut, originally from Hartford. The most violent aspect of Hartford is the violence of poverty, the violence of structural racism, Like, we often talk about violence in terms of like interpersonal disagreements, assault, so on and so forth. But if you think about violence as anything that harms other people, then poverty is that, right? Bias in the way we police our communities, that's violence. Underfunding schools, that's violence. In that way, sure, like we can think about Hartford as violent from a structural perspective, but I don't think, for me, that defines what Hartford is.
Hartford's Barber Street is a stretch of blocks that haven't recovered from a series of fires and looting spurred by the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in 1968.
What it was like when Martin died. I learned that we were living on a plantation here in Hartford. You say, why? We were told that you can go to the Windsor-Hartford town line. There was a barricade of cops in the north. In the south, it was down at Trumbull Street. And to the west, I think it might have been Homestead Avenue or Albany Avenue. And we were almost saying, they're saying you can burn what you want in that area, but you better not go out of that area. Think about it. And the thing is today, for people today, there's something called a promise zone. So 60 years later, a federal government program entitled the Promise Zone encompasses the area that we became co-conspirators in our own demise and burned it down.
Renaissance District is, I look at it as my ministry. It is a vision to redevelop Black communities, starting with Hartford on Barber Street. We want to stake off some land. We want to invest resources. We want to develop it. We want to own it. And we want to create a culture within that district. And we want to work with the people to help them to heal from all of the things that we're talking about today. Whether it's the crack epidemic, whether it's racism, whether it's the event called slavery. We want to get really, really deep, and we want to get into the minds of our people so that we begin to take care of ourselves. That's a process. I believe that many of us don't know the history, the business history, just history in general on Black folks. So it's difficult to respect something that you don't know. And then I believe that there's a subsection of leadership that doesn't want the public to know. And that's all strategic, of course. So I think it's our responsibility to educate first ourselves and helping us to respect our own history, and then we go out and educate others.
They received shots fired calls near Washington Street and New Britain Avenue and Berry Square around 3 this afternoon. Fox 61's Tony Black is live tonight outside of the Hartford Police Department with more on the investigation.
A man has died and another is in critical condition after a shooting in Hartford's Berry Square neighborhood Sunday afternoon. Police say they found one victim shot outside this apartment on Washington Street and another dead on the 3rd floor. They don't have any suspects at this point.
We will sing and shout victory. One more time, everybody, come on. When we all get to heaven, what a day of rejoicing that will be. When we all sing Jesus, we will sing and shout.
Okay. You got it.
Yeah, they okay.
Okay, I got it.
Oh, this was you.
Yeah. So tell me what happened.
Well,
You don't mind being on camera.
no.
It's a documentary.
You want me to speak like professional?
Yes, of course.
Oh.
That's what you are.
Well, we was alerted today that it was going to be a big service, and there may be some people that, of course, was not happy that had passed. So the police came and made us aware, and the gentleman said that his boss from Hartford Police made them aware, and that their presence would be here in case something was to happen. And it just was a lot.
large crowd. The only thought that we should close the doors because it was at capacity, but people kept like flowing in and flowing out. We made extra copies of the programs, 75 colored, 25 black and white.
How's the family?
They're very pleased, emotional.
They're very, yeah. They were pleased yesterday when they came for the private viewing. That's good. You know, you have someone who's lost their loved one and they're looking to you for guidance. They're concerned as to, you know, is everything going to be okay? There's a great deal of pressure that funeral directors are under. If you think about all of the different things that happen during a funeral service, the funeral director is in there arranging and making sure that everything clicks exactly the way it's supposed to click. It's kind of hard to believe. You know, you think people who die, you think that they would be older, but to see a young person, it was sort of unbelievable. It happens, unfortunately, frequently, but I understand why it's happening, but it's still unbelievable. I'm not sure what the schools can do. I think this is up to the community. Poverty is big business. It's by design in many ways. The cause of it is greed. The cause of it is racism. There's a hodgepodge of things that create poverty. But first and foremost, I would say poverty is a state of mind. I think there's a certain subset of people that are doing violence. But it's not a violent place. Everywhere is violent. We deal with funeral services daily, almost daily, where people are dying from gunshots and things of that nature. It's sad in many ways. And I think that it needs to be disrupted. I just don't know how. I think it's been here a long time. It's been here a very, very long time. I've only been working in Hartford on a regular basis since maybe 2004, sorry. But based on my history and what I know of Hartford, gun violence has been here a very, very long time. It's gone through multiple iterations, multiple reasons why gun violence may spark up, but it's been with us a long time. I mean, I've had multiple friends who people I've gone to high school with. I've had family members who have passed from gun violence. If you're black, you have someone that you're close to, or someone that's distant from you, or probably a relative, distant relative. You're going to get touched by gun violence, unfortunately.
Situations like this where young men got shot, I don't know if this has anything to do with a group of people that are out there, but typically that group, those kind of groups, what they'll do is they go to the funeral service and they stay in the parking lot. Okay, and most of the times they're drinking, smoking, whatever they're doing, and sort of, I call it, self-medicating. And they will all come in at one time. They will create this big long line. They'll come in, they'll view, and then they'll just walk out. And they stay in the parking lot. And then the family and close friends, those are the ones that are in the actual funeral service. I don't think they know how to deal with the gift that they have, which is their minds. When certain things happen, this is how you respond. And it may not be the most productive way to do things. So I think that there's a culmination of reasons why folks do what they do. You know, I'm not passing judgment at all. I'm just not doing that because I don't know if I were in their situation that I would do anything different. So, but I do know that you know, many of the behaviors that they display are destructive to their well-being, and that's what I want to somehow want to figure out a way to heighten their awareness and strengthen their courage to want to do what's in the best interest of them. Because I don't think they ever really had an opportunity to be able to do that. I think they just kind of react to situations in their life. It's hard, man. These folks see death all the time, man. I think there's a sense of hopelessness. They were shooting?
Yeah, we were still in the cemetery. They were shooting.
How'd you get out? I mean, the pastor just called me and asked me about that.
Yeah.
So they were shooting?
So yeah, coming straight. They were coming at us, ducking. And so I'm like, what do we do? So we took the left down the dirt path to go around. And then the police were coming in. And he had his thing all out and everything. And so they were trying to get everybody coming out. Meanwhile, another service was waiting to come in.
Okay, Okay.
Oh, this is...
Yeah, man. Crazy.
You know the people?
Yeah, very well.
What's the deal? Why was they shooting, bro?
You know they weren't gang affiliated.
I thought gangs was outdated, bro.
No way. Them young boys is bringing it back in.
Everybody's in the gang.
Everybody. Yeah,
I didn't even know that.
I thought
Nah.
Yeah,
oh, because it was all those people.
On the hat, but I told you what it symbolized when they put the hat on him yesterday.
How they gonna come to a funeral and just shoot?
They don't care, Mr. Hill.
You'll be mad at the hearse. Dwayne was...
Yeah. Mad at dirt bikes.
They started doing dirt bikes and all the dirt. And I said we gotta stop him. Because he got out the car and... Why don't we hold that one? Hold her that one. Oh, you need me still?
Yeah, because I want you to finish.
Okay. We have to try.
That's why I had to get my son away here, because I knew he would have been part of that life.
You think so?
I know so, because all my friends' kids is a part of that life.
I'm about to go get my preneed.
The kid was here on yesterday's service. Me and his father grew up together, but it was okay for his son to live that life. So. Like my son wanted to be an FBI agent. Friends I grew up with discourage their kids and tell them, nah, you can't be the police. I encourage mine.
Police, huh?
Yeah. You can't be the police, that's wrong. You can't do that.
How you doing, man?
Alright, how you doing?
I'm alright, good. How you go, sir?
Get some drink. You alright, Dwayne?
Yeah, I guess so.
You heard what happened, right?
Yeah.
You heard what happened, right? Yeah, you ain't catching no stray bullets, did you?
No, that was after we left.
Oh, it was after you left?
That was after,
Why
yeah.
was Tammy blowing blue lights then?
Cause that was, because they started shooting before they could get out the cemetery. And they said there was gonna be some gunshots.
When they cut Hartford called Bloomfield and told them.
Yeah. These young kids today, man, crazy.
Having order for our services and making sure that everything is timed and it goes off just like a production. You know, we're rehearsing. Our staff rehearse. We'll rehearse. You know, we have meetings. You know, regular meetings. We do team building exercises. We have you know, events where we go out to the movies. We go bowling. We have cookouts, summer cookouts, and we spend time together because we're working together. It's a really, really tight, close relationship that we have, you know, with our staff. So the best thing to do is for us to get along. So we try to make sure that we do certain things to make sure that we're getting along. And we're in a very, very stressful position too. I mean, all of the stress, all of the anger, all of the emotions that the families have, they bring that and they dump it on us. So we're absorbing all of that, and it's quite emotional for us.
Right.
We have a fly on the wall.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
How you doing?
But that's causing people to look at the entire company. Like now people are looking, now they're starting to pay more attention to what we're doing because of people talking now. So if you're off by the slightest bit, you're gonna kill the attention. Do we understand? Okay, we understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
He's focused on working the systems that he has control over. What we're doing is creating our own system. And that's where it, you know, people don't, I think they do miss the mark.
Yeah, they do.
You know,
they
so.
do. Because he was like, you need to call me. I called him. I don't know. He didn't call me back. So I didn't know what I needed to call him about.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. He'll surface. I know he was like super busy. Because he kept telling me that he was really busy. But, you know, like I said, we hit the mark. I think what's going to be very important for us to do is to convene that same group outside of the city and bring them into our fold, invite them in. And they need to have a specific assignment. And we also need to let them know that it's not us against them. It's us against, you know, status quo, and those people who want to occupy our place, our community, right? So, like I said, Swift Factory, they have their subsidiary, and they're trying to purchase all units, all of apartment buildings, 6 families and above. Well, that's a significant amount. That's a significant piece of our, you know, our environment, and we need to figure out a way to address that. I'll see you guys later.
All right, you did figure that was at like 7:55.
There are many who would characterize the difference that I've named as white supremacy, racism. They will name it in white privilege. They'll name it in implicit bias. They'll name it in bigotry. Those are nice sanitizing phrases and words. I like to use white supremacy because it names it in its raw, ugly form. That says that here in Hartford, West Hartford, And in other near-ring suburbs in this region, laws on the books that say you can't sell your property to black folk. That ain't got nothing to do with your personal biases. That has something to do with what the law, redlining is what the law created, that the government assisted. Where you can work, where you can go to school, the quality of those schools and the education, the product that is produced there, those are not somehow done because people say, I don't like you, I like you. That's cooked in the sauce. And there's all of the stuff that comes along with what you have been somehow conditioned to believe and not necessarily question. So it is both. It is the work that happens all around us, the activities we have, the interactions that we have that we don't even think about, that we don't necessarily question or process, as well as there's the raw truth, the data, the structures, the infrastructures that are built. Take it for example, we don't question the highway systems, the interstate highway systems in any of our urban centers. Here in Hartford is one of them. However, if you go back
in the 1960s, the construction of I-84 divided Hartford's neighborhoods and demolished many of the city's historic buildings.
That those highways went right through and separated and divided and destroyed communities. Can you tell me what communities those highways went through? Here in Hartford, it went right through the black community. So again, ain't got nothing to do with somebody's individual choice alone, but some individuals got in the room and made the decisions. And they made those decisions based on some particular values that they carried. You want to talk about implicit bias? I call that white supremacy.
And that's exactly what my work is about. My work is about creating an environment for black people to thrive. So there's no excuse why you shouldn't be able to be whatever you want to be in life. And all it takes is for you to say, yes, this is what I want. You create your plan and you work your plan. All of the resources will be available to you. All of the help will be available to you. But you have to activate your own plan by your desire to want something different for your life. That's the environment that I'm working on, that I'm working on with my Renaissance District.
Narcan for the trap. We need more Narcan for the trap. Two white lights passed out in the back. We need more Narcan for the trap. Might lose one off this batch if we don't get more Narcan in the strap. We need more Narcan in the trap. We need more Narcan in the trap. This ain't what the clowns like. The black thoughts so fentanyl, this is what it would sound like. Gotta find a speed off a veteran hooker. Left her out in Phoenix cause I let my cousin Devin book her. We could've lost Billy at that Walmart. I was worried about my friend, y'all was thinking about a false start. We still gon' turn rap into nice houses. Pioneering that like the first black at the White Fountain. Told Poppy Sinvet too, I'm exploring options. Line full of fiends look like Jordan's dropping. You niggas either got a mistake or a crew joke. I was wise enough to learn from what you fools spoke. She stalked me on the gram where she really could know me. My top 5, he, me, Rick, Benny, and Shelby. Shout out mama on that 10-year sobriety chip. I hope my bullshit ain't the reason her sobriety slipped.